So we will stand like this, right?
Mm-hmm. So anyway, we're talking. We're discussing things, and we're talking about things. There's stuff. You know, there's a bird up here.
This is the Crystal Pepsi syrup that you have.
Yeah, it's what we did is we worked with the Pepsi Cola company and
Yes.
got their Crystal Pepsi formula. Now, mind you, not actually through legal or purchasing terms. I actually broke through the window of their offices and sorry, Pepsi, we'll send you a check for the damages.
No, what's funny is I stopped at a mini market before I came here. I bought they had it, so I have a bottle of Crystal Pepsi.
Awesome.
I'm like, well, I wasn't planning on drinking Crystal Pepsi today, but it's like, how can I not? It reminds me of the 90s.
Yeah. If there's anything I remember about Crystal Pepsi, it's going to sound ridiculous. I remember a stronger, distinct taste of cinnamon to it. No idea why. It's supposed to just be without the caramel coloring, but to me, it actually had a slightly different flavor.
I was closing my eyes and trying to think, is this the same taste or isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah. Ooh.
I'll go up and get it. You want to try it?
I was going, sure. So we have Crystal Pepsi, not Crystal Meth.
So tell us about the Crystal Pepsi syrup that you're...
Yes. It was original process. Some Pepsi.
Try this.
Oh, God.
It's gonna...
It has a heady bouquet
of corn syrup and
corn syrup and one of the finest of artificial citrus. Right now, yeah, until tomorrow.
Who do you in the Blowfish?
Right now, it's everything.
You're singing Van Halen?
Yeah, no, that was the Crystal Pepsi.
Was that it really?
Yeah. Which is better than the Saturday Night Live parody, Crystal Gravy.
You know what's funny? Like, as I'm drinking this right now, it doesn't taste like anything.
It just kind of tastes like vaguely sodish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I really wonder how much the color makes a difference.
Well, okay, there's color perception, which is, how many rums, get a taste, get a little touch of coloring to look aged and such. Yeah.
So normally it wouldn't be that color.
Oh no, it would be probably a light blonde color.
Really? Even though this is crude but dark rum.
Yeah.
So Blair, this brings me to a question.
Yes.
How much? Take a tiki drink, right? How much does the environment or even the mug or the presentation, how much does that matter to the actual taste of the drink? There's the idea of that if you take a drink and you put it in, you serve it in a cool tiki mug with all the garnishes, and you're in this full environment, will that drink in your mind taste the same as if like you just here's a glass and we're sitting at your kitchen table?
Well, I have a few things to say about that.
Okay.
Number one is it definitely environment matters, particularly in tiki, because tiki is so much more. There's no other cocktail category that is so lifestyle. Tiki is so much more about what's in the glass. It's what you're wearing. It's your attitude. It's the music, the Martin Denny window dressing playing in the background.
Yeah.
The other thing I have to say about that is I feel, in my humble opinion, that's one of the reasons people have had such a hard time recreating a drink like the Ray's Mistake from the Tiki Tea.
Yeah.
A proper Ray's Mistake is drank on a Wednesday night in the middle of the Tiki Tea, surrounded by 100 strangers you just met and are now your best friends, toasting the Master Ninja at 9 p.m.
Yep.
That's how a Ray's Mistake it ought to be made and taste.
Totally, yeah.
Not to mention, as I think we were discussing earlier, the Tiki Tea has a very different take on what ingredients to use versus the craft cocktails scene.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. The difference between let's back up. How long have you been into tiki, Blair?
I have been tikiing it up since the early 2000s on
The early 2000s.
early 2000, like 2000.
So what? Paint me a picture. What? Well, first of all, what were the drinks like back then?
So way back in the day, what first drew me into tiki is, I'd like to say that something was planted early in my life. At 1 year of age, I was in the Hawaiian Islands with my parents for my uncle's wedding, and I was.
Were you the best man?
No, I was the little kid.
You're the crying baby that's in the back of the.
Actually, I was the little baby drunk on pink champagne because everyone thought it was so cute to give the baby tastes. Anyway, but one day actually, okay, maybe we're combining two and two now. I was scouring the beaches. My parents were sunbathing or whatever it is parents do back in the 70s, early 80s. And I was actually stepped on. I still remember it to this day. I stepped on and was stung by a Portuguese man-o-war.
Seriously?
I had to be taken to the hospital and observed briefly. But I always like to say that is probably where the islands literally got into my blood.
Like literally.
From there,
You're
I
like,
had.
So you're comparing yourself to Spider-Man. You got stung by the radioactive spider. You got
the power of Mai Tai.
You got stung by a man-o-war, and you're like, I need to create syrups.
I am made of tinier entities.
Instead of blowing webs, you blow like orgeat.
I also had many encounters with Disneyland when I was younger.
Yeah.
We had relatives who worked there, and
Where did you grow up?
so I grew up actually in San Jose, California.
San Jose, okay.
Kind of the northern area of California. But we had family from Santa Maria to Anaheim.
Yeah.
So every summer was a visit down in that area, and inevitably we'd end up at Disneyland, where I would watch the Enchanted Tiki Room.
Yeah.
And it was just fascinating to me. Decades happened, and in my early 20s, I got a real interest in bartending. So I went to American bartending school in San Francisco, drank the colored water. My first Mai Tai was made out of nothing but colored water with some red. And, from there, went and sought my bartending career.
Yeah.
I sought out friends who were also interested in cocktails, and I came upon some friends in Sonoma County that introduced me to these wonderful concoctions. They had this mudroom in the outside that was all done up with, I remember there was a seashell netting, and there was some kind of kitschy, retro appliances, the little bird that picks up the toothpick and shakers and whatnot. And one of the things that they had that really differentiated them from anywhere else I'd been, Speech From Barry's Grog Log.
Really? Mm-hmm. Wow.
So they would play with the ingredients, and I would play along and help them by drinking the beverages.
Yeah.
And I was just enthralled because we were sitting there and you had to be dressed properly. You had to wear your nice Hawaiian shirt in order to really start feeling the flow. There was I believe Rhino Records had released their Exotica, which had bits of Les Baxter and Ema Sumac and Martin Denny. And it was like, okay, this is more than any other cocktail I've imbibed. This is more than any, anything I've mixed before or been to. This is like, it's music. It's in the air.
Yeah,
it's
literally.
In the environment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everywhere you look, there's something staring at you, and it had that combination of, a little more refined with relaxed and laid back with that Disneyfication of every angle and everywhere you looked was in theme. Mm-hmm. And I just fell in love with tiki at that point. And eventually, when my bartending career started to take off, bringing tiki drinks behind any bar I would go to. So I would do, basement and backyard bartending, making my own mixes and syrups because you had to. The only options you had at that time were syrups that were made for coffee.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's like if you go to like the supermarket and you buy the Oja syrup, that's where it's at. Those syrups are like syrups, coffee.
Exactly. Now, when you think about it, those syrups are made for coffee. Coffee is a dark, strong flavor.
Yeah, it is.
Pair that up with a gin, it's going to dominate it. You're not going to taste a damn thing.
Yeah.
Even with your lighter rums. they're not made to work with other flavors. They're made to punch through. And within a quarter ounce of that, artificial hazelnut syrup, it's supposed to make your whole damn thing taste like hazelnut.
Wow. Okay.
It's not supposed to be a part of something greater, which is what's appropriate for a cocktail. I'll put it this way, and this is something that I think about often.
Yeah.
When you're looking at Tiki message boards, Tiki Facebook groups, Tiki, etc.,
Yeah.
people are always saying, "Oh, where do I get this rum? Where do I get that rum? I had to substitute this rum. I had to use that rum." So do the rums really matter as much as we tend to emphasize and focus on?
What do you think?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I don't. I'm starting to come to that mentality too.
I believe there is more to be put into the quality of what's being mixed with the rum.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that every rum can substitute for everything else and you should just ignore it entirely. Use quality products where you can, use the best that you can find. But make the syrups great.
I remember.
And how can you make the syrups great? By going to bgreynolds.com.
That's like, you're plugging yourself for an interview.
Your $5 is in the mail.
It's like, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
When I first got into making tiki drinks myself, you do what anyone else is. You see the recipes, and you're like, okay, Oja syrup, or Orgot, or whatever you,
Orge.
or whatever you.
Orge.
Whatever, like what you're reading, you're like, okay.
It's a very French term, so you bite the G and you just don't pronounce the rest of the word. Orge.
Orge. So you do what I do what anyone else would. I went to the supermarket, and there's the bottle right next to the coffee, and you're like, okay, got that. Curacao, and you buy the cheapest.
Yeah.
Because when you get into making tiki drinks, you're like, oh my God, there's like all these ingredients I gotta buy.
Oh yeah.
Because it ain't even just like rum. Well, back then there'd be like 3 different types of rum.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a light and a gold and a dark, and you're like, oh my God, I only have so much money.
Yeah.
Simple syrup, and you're like, okay, that's pretty simple. Literally sugar and water. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was making my drinks, and I thought that they tasted okay. And then I remember I got your syrups.
Mm-hmm. Not the circus peanut. That's
not the circus peanuts, but why did you say the orge? Orge syrup. That was the first thing I got from yours, and I got, instead of using just simple syrup, I used the Demerara syrup. They were the only 2 ingredients that I changed as far as the Mai Tai recipe was concerned, and the drink went from tasting like passable to being like, this is a great tasting drink.
Awesome.
And it all came down to the syrups. I didn't change the rums. It was the syrups.
Well, that's the thing. If you have weak syrups, changing the rums ain't gonna do squat.
No, not at all.
Wow, that's actually a good. I gotta start writing this down and pitching this more. I appreciate your take on this.
And I'm not just sweating you because you're letting me do an interview with you. But I really mean that. I mean, I'm the more I go to places, the more I drink cocktails, I'm realizing that it comes down more to the syrups.
Well, isn't that the thing though? You can go to 5 different bars, and they can give you the same recipe, the same rums, but we house make our own. Okay, well, how do you house make your own? What's your recipe?
What does that syrup taste like?
Exactly, and it changes everything about the drink.
And you got to think. And here's another thing too, Blair. I mean, say there was a bar and we make our syrups in house. Well, so I'm guessing that day to day, that's gonna take that.
Johnny's the one who knows how to make the orgeat, but Johnny didn't show up, so Hal made it. Okay, well, Hal made it, and he doesn't really know the recipe, so he burnt it. Oh, yeah, Tiffany was watching over the recipe, but she's never done it before.
Normally we get our almonds from here, but they didn't have it, so we use these different kind of things.
It's inconsistent. The reason I started B.G. Reynolds Syrups is because I'm lazy and I just want to make things in giant batches. I figured, hey, I can sell this. But I saw a lack of consistency. I saw difficulty in making drinks without having, I want to make this great drink, but I have to make 3 other things before I can even try it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was just, it just wasn't feasible for me. And I thought, how can I make sure that when I go out to a bar, they're making their tropical drinks right?
Yeah.
Why not sell them the syrup?
What was the first syrup you made?
The first syrup would be the orgeat.
So you started to make your own syrups. You have your own company. Now, exactly the reasons why you said, because you're like, I want to be able to go into a bar and have a consistency and have the drink taste well.
Yeah.
So how did that go when you started? Because obviously you have to sell your syrups to bars.
Yeah.
So how did you do that? Did you actually go into like tiki bars and you'd be like, just sitting at the bar, you're wearing like sunglasses and you have like you look like a private eye from the foyer. You're like, this Mai Tai is okay. But I think I can make it better for you. Oh yeah, well, who are you? I'm Blair Reynolds of B.G. You pull out a bottle.
Well, see, this beard is actually fake. See, I can just pull the whole thing off and go in and say, oh, this Mai Tai is garbage. You guys should change your orja. Next thing you know, put the beard on, come in as B.G. Reynolds, and offer them to sell them some.
You know how awesome if you were like, that just happened. Yeah, you literally just took off your beard and everyone's like, he's like Robert Smith in the Keurigs. Because that's a wig.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wait, I like how you took your beard off because it was like a side thing.
Oh yeah, no, it's
like on a rail.
It's got a Velcro strip.
It has a.
Well, I mean, come on, I'm hitting 5 places a day. It's got to be resealable. No, I would just honestly, a lot of it was from behind the computer.
Okay.
Just going out to sending emails to, mostly I started with retailers actually. What I've found is, and this still permeates to this day, is craft bars still feel that you need to be house making your syrups. Even though it was, gosh, it could have been 12, 15 years ago that Jamie Boudreau said, if somebody made a superior product, I would purchase it. And, so be it.
But here's another thing too, when it comes to that. Well, then you're going to deal with ego.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you happen to know how many different bars are using your syrups? There's a lot, a couple.
I couldn't tell you all of them, but I can tell you 2 of the most important. And that is Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar at the Disneyland Resort and Trader Sam's Grotto at Disney World. They only use, at most, a half ounce of my syrups per pump per drink.
Yeah.
Sometimes 3 or 4 per drink. They go through 30 cases a month. So I like working with them a lot.
Yeah, dude. So do you like working with Disney? Is it working out?
Yeah,
okay.
It works, and they don't change their menu that often, and it's the greatest write-off in the world.
Oh my god!
I gotta go down to Disney and meet with those guys again. Oh no!
Yeah, that's business trip.
Sitting there on Space Mountain, like, come on, guys.
You're on the stool that goes down by itself. Yep, I've done this before. So you're making business deals with the head bartender, and you're like, so what are you saying? You won 30 cases of the next. but different, like, I'm flaring them.
Yeah, what happens is the villains get both drunk and diabetic at the same time.
Hey gang, this is Tiki with Ray, and I just want to say thank you very much for checking out my video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to see more episodes, click on the subscribe button. And if you liked the video, give it a like. That would mean a lot to me. And if you have any comments or suggestions, please leave a comment in the comment section below.